walking
Okay,
around.
it's 6 o'clock. Okay. It's 6 o'clock. I'll call to order the meeting for the City of Clinton Planning Commission for Tuesday, November the 11th, 2025. Our first order of business is approval of minutes from our October 14th meeting. Did everybody have a chance to review our minutes from that meeting? Any changes or additions, corrections that need to be made? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion.
Okay, a second?
Second.
We have a second, all in favor? Okay, the minutes for that meeting are approved. Do we have any old business to discuss? No old business? Okay, the next item is new business. We have two items to discuss under new business, and both of them are going to be included in a public hearing. So I will now declare our meeting open, a public hearing now open for the purpose of conducting that business. The first item is a rezoning request, an ordinance to rezone 677 acres on Highway 72 East and Old Colony Road, tax map number 901-34-01-004, and then also last three digits 062, 033, and 034. All that together totals 677 acres. It is currently zoned AR agriculture, R1 low density residential, and C3 general commercial, and they would like to change the zoning to PDD, which is planned development. Okay? Philip, do you have some information for us on that?
Sure. The current property, because this is such a large tract with four large pieces of property, there are two parcels that are zoned agricultural, one parcel that's zoned R1 and one parcel that's zoned C3. And the request tonight is to rezone all four parcels to planned development district, which would include a master plan and a statement of intent that identifies all the standards for development on the site.
Okay.
The planned development district allows for a mixture of land uses designed to a master plan, and that basically is the map for the properties. We have the documents that are provided to you. The most current site plan is provided at your seat. And if you have any questions, I'll be glad to go over that. And then the planned development documents are included in your packet from last week. When we had a discussion about this at our last meeting, the modifications that you talked about at that time have been made. There's a number of different opportunities for the site since it is so large. But the intent of overall is for a sports complex on the site with some commercial aspects to it, as well as a residential portion as well. The staff has looked over this with a number of the departments here at the city, and we are recommending approval with some conditions. And these are outlined in your packet.
Okay. I know there were some questions raised at the last minute. Did everybody get their questions answered that were raised at the last meeting? Or do we have any new questions for tonight?
The applicant and the developer are here to answer your questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a few, but it's
Okay.
nothing major. Am
Well, yeah,
am
go
I
ahead.
supposed
Go
to do
ahead.
that
Yeah,
now?
that's what we need to do now.
Okay.
Yeah.
On page 14, it speaks on the uses. There's a whole list of what the land in the planned development, how it can be used. And I just know that we are ever changing. And I feel like there needs to be something in there that says, or something that is approved by, I don't know whether it's the Board of Zoning and Appeals, Planning Commission who would approve it, but there could be something new to come up because times change, and I don't know that this allows for changing with the times.
It does not. Once we approve the planned development plan, that's it. If they make any changes to it in the future, they have to come back to us and ask for, really basically to start the process all over again.
Essentially, it would be as if you were creating a new zoning district for this site. And just like we're looking at tonight in another item, if there were any changes that were going to be made to that, it would have to come back through the process, just like the chairman mentioned, come back before the planning commission, and then to city council for modification.
Okay.
So what I would do is make sure that's the plan you want, because if that's approved, that's what you have. Can't come back making changes to it later
Right.
without starting the
Okay.
whole process over again.
Well, I-
Okay. And that's pretty clear in the code book that's what it states, yeah. And I'm sure that's for good reason. I'm not sure why, but I'm sure that's for good reason, okay?
And then my other question is really not even with the plan. Like, this is a big project.
It
I
is.
think we all know this is
Yeah.
a big project. Who is the contact person or the point person on city staff going to be for this project to, like, oversee? It's really not oversee, but to process everything that's coming through, because that's a full-time job, and if it's you aren't a full-time job.
It would be actually all of staff.
Right.
Every person from the manager all the way down to the permit clerk that would be reviewing the plans for whether it be a hotel or a restaurant or a residential structure within this development. So it's just as if a person was developing the corner here on Broad Street, it would have to go through that same process for review and approval. So it's a number of eyes that we're looking at.
I just want to make sure I say this is a very big project, and we have several other projects going on, and the city may want to look at changing the time of employees so that we can oversee this as need be.
That's a good point. And a project this size is going to need one person to kind of oversee everybody else, in my opinion. And the way the city's set up now, we don't have anybody to do that. So I'm afraid it falls to our city manager, Joey, who can do that, but it'll be his responsibility to make sure all the pieces come together for this. And I know you can do that.
Between my office and field,
Yeah.
fire department,
Yeah.
and the building inspections office,
Yeah.
we get done.
Yeah. This is, I mean, I like this project, and it's where it needs to be, in my opinion, out near the interstate. The only question I had that I gave you at the last meeting and that I'd like them to address, there's obviously got to be another ingress and egress point, especially for the residential component of this, because winding fire trucks and school buses all around these roads through the commercial development back to the residential development is going to be kind of cumbersome, and that, to me, it's a safety issue as far as the fire vehicles and police vehicles are concerned. They're going to need another point of access, and they actually talked about that in their presentation at our last meeting, that they were looking for another point of ingress and egress for the residential component, and I'd just like to know what they've done to address that.
I think they had.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Allen,
Yeah.
49 Greenland Drive, Greenville, 29615. So since we've last spoke, we have added another access to the residential portion of the property. We're also planning to use the frontage on Old Colony Road as a full access. I understand there were some concerns brought up about Old Colony after that meeting. You know, with the use of Old Colony Road, we recognize that there would be, you know, some improvements necessary for that road to make sure it is suitable for, you know, not just vehicular traffic from the neighborhood, but, you know, also for the guys in the fire department and the police department as well. There was another concern tied to that. I guess it may have been some question in terms of what we could do with Old Colony Road, specifically in regards to a cemetery on site. Since our last discussion, we've contracted a ground penetrating radar group to go out there. We figured out where it was, one, but then we sent those guys out there actually yesterday morning. They went out and flagged each one of the spots or grave sites of concern. I went out and got the chance to look at it this afternoon before I came right here into town. And that cemetery is well without. It's about 20 to 25 yards, I believe, outside of that right of way. So in terms of improving Old Colony Road or making it into what we need it to be adequate to serve the project, we're not encumbered by that cemetery. We have the space in the right of way to do so.
Okay. That was a point that somebody brought up. I didn't realize it was back there until somebody brought it up, and just make sure that was not going to be in the way. Now, Old Colony Road now is a state-maintained road. Is that correct?
Yes.
So any improvements to be made. I've driven up and down that road several times, and I really have concerns about that being the only other access point to the residential area. There's a lot of houses on there. The road is very narrow, and I don't know, to me, that road is gonna have to be improved greatly. It's gonna have to be widened, and it's gonna have to be some major work done on it, and that's something you're gonna probably have to work with the State Highway Department to get approval to do that. I don't know what all that's gonna entail. I've never been through that process before. Joey, maybe you can help us to understand what needs to be done to that road to make it the access point that we really need for that residential section.
Yes, DOT will have to be involved in this.
What is the existing right-of-way on that road?
It appears to be, I believe it's 50 feet wide. And so I can speak a little bit to that question. We've contracted a traffic engineer. They have done their side of the traffic impact study. They have submitted it to SCDOT for review. Now, I've been hesitant to release the draft part of that study just because of that fact that DOT ultimately hadn't responded yet. And I think a lot of these things are going to apply, but I think, there's going to be probably bad terminology, but push and pull in some other places. So this is probably not final. Right now, that Old Colony coming out onto 56, they are already recommending, so the people that we hired are recommending at the very minimum, a right turn lane onto 56 from Old Colony Road. To be honest with you, I don't think that's going to be the end of it. When we hear back from SCDOT, to your point, I agree. I think once you get further on back, that pavement section starts to narrow, and the pavement's kind of already alligator in a little bit, so it's going to need to be resurfaced. But this is my opinion. I don't think that this access point is going to be used at the same intensity that the other access points on 72 are. I think predominantly, the people that are living in that subdivision, they're going to go out to the main access on 72 as it's probably the quickest way to the highway to either get up towards, Gray Court or Greenville, or, there's a lot of employment centers along the highway. I think for the most part that access will serve as overflow for big baseball weekends. I think it'll be used for residents that are coming to and from the city, whether they're coming down here to eat at a restaurant. But I think it's kind of for people to be coming into the property that way. It's kind of the long way around to get in there. So not that it won't be used. Our intention is for it to be a full access, but I believe the way the site's positioned and the way the uses are kind of positioned, I think a lot of that traffic will be going the opposite way.
Well, I agree with you. I think the people that live in this subdivision, they probably will go out that way. My concern is the traffic getting in there with emergency vehicles and just the sheer amount of traffic when you have baseball tournaments there. To me, that's the only reservation I have about the whole project, is having another access point. And I think that's something that's got to be addressed and have a plan for us to look at from the highway department, really, to move forward with it. I don't know how the rest of you feel, but that's my really only concern.
Yes, sir.
I raised the question last meeting about the crossing the dam. That is a Duncan Creek watershed dam.
Yes, sir.
And have you got permission from them to enlarge that dam?
Well, we wouldn't be enlarging the dam.
So you can't drive across it. I'm telling you, I've driven a pickup truck across that dam, and it's a one-lane road.
So it is. It's narrow on the top of that dam. And a lot of this is going to come from, as the survey comes in, that dam is a good bit higher than that water level. And this will be something that we have to study, but my belief is that the storms that watershed is intended to handle are, several feet below where that top of dam is. So ideally, we would be able to kind of cut off the top and flip that dirt down to the lower side. But worst case scenario, if we have to maintain the height of that dam, we can bring dirt in and extend that dam onto the backside.
So what negotiations have you had with Duncan Creek watershed with respect to that?
I'm not, to my knowledge, aware that we have to once John owns the property, as long as we're not interfering with that watershed and the way it functions. I don't know that we have to.
Ford, where is that on the map you're talking about, the dam that you're talking about?
That's zone 1. Where is zone 1?
Right here.
Zone number 1?
Right there, that's the dam right there. Right at the top of zone 1 was
Yeah, the top
where
of
you
it.
see zone 1, the top of the water there. Okay, I've never been through there, so I don't know what that looks like.
I mean,
Okay.
it's a struggle to get from the motel, I don't know what the name of it is, to get down across that dam over to there's a scout hut over there.
Yeah, that makes me even more concerned because that's your only access point other than possibly Old Colony Road.
No, you actually got a one-lane road under I-26.
That comes under the interstate.
Sure.
There's a pedestrian plan that the county has done. I understand that was included in part of that plan to get connection through to the other piece of property. We're not proposing, making that connection, but we're trying to make the room
I
for
was
that.
being facetious.
Oh.
There is another access point. You come across, you can
It's
come
a-
under I-26.
It's only a if it's only a one-lane road, then it's not gonna be much help.
No, it's,
The project.
it's actually an emergency exit to Whitten Center, and there was a train accident, and they couldn't get through the front entrance. They could always exit under the interstate. That's how it was developed in 1960-something.
Yeah, well, forward right now, that tunnel under the road, the only thing you're able to access there now is a pump station owned by Lawrence County Water.
Okay. So that wouldn't really help, okay.
Wind Center's emergency access would be out the back of their property onto Old Colony Road.
Well, when I surveyed this property, Department of Health and whatever they are, they said we need to maintain access under I-26 because that's an emergency access point. For what it's worth.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments? And we do have time for public comment at this meeting, correct? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm looking at section 3.2, page 14, uses. And there are a plethora of uses there. And my question is this a field of dreams? Build it and they will come? Or are you going to develop all these?
So that is the way it is sounded. There's a lot of people that are very interested in coming to this site, but it's all dependent on the baseball fields really coming together. Once that does, that's going to open up a lot of opportunities. A lot of this stuff, we've had discussions with a lot of people who are interested in the site. Not that they have provided any commitment to us to build any of these things, but as we've spoken to these folks and they've indicated their interest in what could possibly go on the site. We've just tried to open that up as much as we can in terms of permitted uses within the area.
So you are with JWS Holdings?
I'm sorry?
Are you with JWS Holdings?
No, sir. They're a client of mine. That holding company is owned by John Seaver.
So I'm looking at a project like this and I'm thinking, we're talking a lot of dollars, and over a long period of time before it's ever going to produce revenue. And I'm just wondering if the developer has the wherewithal to support all of this over this period of development.
Sure. Well, thankfully, my problems are working through the site plan and making sure all of that works and the engineering is sound and we get through this process. John's here in attendance if you'd like to ask him that question directly.
Well, I just asked the question.
How much?
Hey, thank you.
So, the question, if everything goes to the timeline that I want, and we get all our approvals and everything, and the engineering gets completely done, hoping by, end of April, May, sometime beginning of May, where we can be shovel ready. I have a long list of investors that, it's just a matter of which one I'm gonna pick at this point. It is kind of, if you build it, they will come kind of thing. The fields, if the fields are there, they all wanna build, they all wanna come. The fields will generate so many people that, you know, it's not just our fields, it's the off-site fields, and Clinton is gonna really become a baseball hub of the Southeast. I mean, not just South Carolina. You know, there's gonna be teams coming from all over the country going to play ball. With that being said, the hotels will come. I mean, I can't count how many companies, hotel companies call me that they wanna. They're calling Joe too. You know, they're calling everybody to find me because they want to put the hotels up. The restaurants, the same thing. You know? But with that being said, it's all about the baseball fields. You know what I mean? I gotta get the fields. And it's all gonna work. It's all gonna come together. So I have letters of intent already from Mungo Homes. You know, they want to build upwards of $450,000 homes in there. You know what I mean? Again, based on the baseball fields. You know what I mean? So it's gonna come together quickly. It's not gonna take a long time. In my contract with the city, I have a time limit. I'll well exceed that. You know what I mean? I think we're gonna have those fields in. We'll be calling balls and strikes by 2027, God willing. You know what I mean? And, the weather holds up for us. You know what I mean? But that's my plan. My goal is to be calling balls and strikes on the fields by 2027.
And at that point, you're gonna have road structure, infrastructure that would support all
Well,
of
again,
this?
that all comes down to how fast I get my approvals, and you know, and once the approvals are done, my engineers we've already started. I've already started doing work that I normally wouldn't do until after I had all the approvals, but I'm trying to move this project along as fast as possible, you know, and get people down here and start playing baseball, and the rest of it's all gonna fall into place. You know. That's my plan. You know, what's my vision? My vision is that Clinton is going to become the biggest baseball hub of the Southeast. We're going to be better than Lake Point, you know, better than down there in Space Coast, you know, and the companies that I'm talking to, the national baseball leagues that I'm talking to are they're willing to put millions and millions and millions of dollars into Clinton. So it's just a matter of which one. I'm flying to Indianapolis. I gotta go down to Florida. You know, I'm gonna be flying all over the country talking to these people now. So, you know, it'll get done. You know, as far as the access points on Old Colony Road, you know, obviously I can't use the Witten Center, and they're not gonna let that happen. I looked into going behind the high school. There's a 30, 40, it looks like a 30-foot gorge down there. That ain't gonna happen. I tried talking to Chip
Cooper.
Yeah, Chip Cooper, I'm sorry. I did have a meeting with Chip Cooper, by the way. I tried to buy that property to come in over there, you know, he doesn't want to sell it. I ran out of access points. The only access point I got is Old Colony Road, unless I use a helicopter. You know? So I will improve that road. I'll do whatever I have to do to make that road usable, and try not to use it as much as possible. I believe that the only people that are really going to be using that road is the parents taking their kids to the school over there, and to go into town and eat dinner, and go to Dempsey's or these other places. Otherwise, I believe like more than 95% of the traffic's going to head up towards 72. You know? The engineers are working on the dam. You know, obviously that's all got to be done the right way, and we'll get it done. You know, it's just a matter of time and work. That's all we're putting in it. So whatever I got to do to make this happen and make everybody happy, that's what I'm going to do. I know that we're going to ruffle little feathers over there on Old Colony Road, but if I make the road nice enough, you know what I mean, and limit the traffic over there, I believe that everything will be fine.
That wasn't my question.
I'm sorry.
My question said that this project has a long period of time before it produces revenue. Can you sit here and tell us that you can cash flow this project until it starts generating revenue?
cash flowing it right now, you know what I mean?
I'm not talking about right now, I'm talking about during this period of time.
Yeah, the investors that I have will have more than enough money to carry this project.
That's all I wanted to know, thank you.
They have more than enough money. The companies, you know, they got hundreds and hundreds of millions.
I just didn't want to see a project we're gonna put on the books and then people aren't gonna be able
It's-
to produce what they said they would.
I got millions and millions, I'm putting millions and millions of dollars of my own money into this, and I gotta tell you, it can't sit there, you know what I
Okay,
mean? It just
perfect,
can't.
thank you
So,
very much.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Okay, any more questions for the owner? Any more? Okay, now we're going to do the public comment portion of our of our meeting. Do you have a list of people who signed up? Did anybody sign up for public comment? Nobody signed up? Nobody signed up, okay. That takes care of that portion of the meeting, okay? Any more questions from our commission? That's the concern I got is the roads, and it's a big gamble, of course. You're gambling your money, not ours, so. Fine with me, because that is a big gamble, but if you can't get people in and out of there, all your potential customers and landholders and interest holders and baseball players and residents, then it's not gonna work, so I feel like y'all done your work to do that, so. Okay. Anybody like to make a motion? Won't everybody speak at once?
To approve the,
Plan as presented.
The plan is presented, yeah.
okay, I'll make a motion.
I'll
Okay.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Okay, let's have any more discussion. I know there's got to be some more questions, but to me, the only thing I'm concerned about is just the ingress and egress for this project, because you only got 2 points, and I think Old Colony is going to be a real challenge to fix the road where it'll be serviceable for that purpose. And coming off 72, I agree. I think that's where most of the traffic's going to naturally come from, but because it's near the interstate. Yes, sir.
Is that a motion to approve to plan development as presented or with the conditions as requested by staff?
I mean, that's presented,
As presented, but they've got
Right.
some conditions that they've included.
okay.
Yeah.
Let me
the
look back at
conditions.
those.
With the conditions that
With
city
the
staff has
conditions.
recommended.
Yes.
Okay, and your second is for
And
that,
I'll
so-
second that,
Okay,
too.
that's the motion
Yes.
and that's the second. To approve is presented with the conditions that the city has put in this project. Okay? Is there any further discussion or any more questions? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Last chance. Okay, I'll call it to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. All those who oppose, okay, the motion is approved by a unanimous vote, 7-0. Okay. Next order of business, which is also part of our public hearing, is an ordinance to amend the city zoning ordinance to create an RS2 district. And this is a discussion we've had at previous meetings. We currently have an R2 designation, which allows for single-family residences. It also allows for townhomes and apartments. Is that correct, Phil?
It allows for duplexes.
And duplexes, just duplexes, no apartments, just duplexes. What the RS2 zone would allow is just for single-family residences. So that would be in addition to R2, we would have an R2 designation, we would also have an RS2, which would be a different designation, more restrictive. Okay, any questions about that? I know y'all remember us discussing that at previous meetings, and that was something we felt like needed to be added to our zoning map to have better control over what goes into R2 type neighborhoods. Anybody like to add to that?
You do need to ask if
Hmm.
you do need to ask.
Oh, yeah, public comment, okay. If there's no questions from the commission, do we have anybody signed up for public comment for that? You do not have one, so nobody signed up for public comment on this issue, so we can now call it to vote if we want to. Would anybody like to make a motion to accept an amendment to our ordinance to add and create an RS2 district?
So moved.
So moved, second. Okay, any more discussion? I'll call it to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay, that also carried by a unanimous vote, 7-2. Okay, I will declare the public hearing portion of our meeting is now concluded and that public hearing is closed. Okay, the next item is the development review for Magnolia Acres. This is a preliminary review that will be presented to us for that project. Okay, Phil?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a property on Highway 56 North. The tax map number is 901-33-01001, with a little over 80 acres on that site. The property owner is Clinton Economic Development Corporation, and the agent is Seth Wilfong. Property is currently zoned R3, not is residential. This is a proposal for a 250-lot single-family development. The plans are provided to you in your packets. They provided all of their construction drawings, their application, their fees, everything that we've required. Our staff has reviewed those plans and have made some comments going forward from each of those areas, and I've provided that to you in your packet as far as the comments that we've received from them, and those have been made aware to their engineer. We would recommend approval of the site plan and the construction drawing subject to the requirements from the city departments being met.
Okay. Now, this is not final approval for the project, this is just preliminary.
No, sir. If you were to approve this plan, it would go forward and they would be able to begin construction on the site,
Okay.
which allows them to begin putting in the roads, water, sewer, drainage for the individual lots.
Okay,
They
okay.
would not be able to sell or transfer property until after final approval has been given by the planning.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments? Mainly questions about this project? And we've looked at this project before. Anybody, any discussion, any questions? We'll make sure, okay. If there's no discussion, we can call this to a vote. Do I have a motion to approve this as presented?
So moved.
Motion, okay, a second? We have a second, okay, no further discussion. All those in favor of approving this, please raise your hand. All those who oppose? Okay, there were 6 yes and 1 no vote, so it is approved. Okay, the next item is other discussion items. Do we have anything else we need to discuss tonight while we're meeting? Nothing? Okay. The planning director's reports. Anybody else have anything they'd like to discuss tonight or bring up before the board? Okay. Planning chair, commission member, I have nothing. So if that's the case, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Okay.